Yo, what's up?
Hey.
I okay, so it's gonna always it starts the same way every time.
Okay.
What is liberation?
Liberation for me is it's actually the process that you take to discover your true self, your inner self, your essence. So in that process, what I mean is that you question everything from, all the layers that make you, from the way you were raised, uh, society rules, religion, all these things that contribute to the person, uh, to an individual person. And then from there, you start asking, is that really who I am? Is this what I choose to be? Is this what I am meant to be? And from that questioning, um, what it comes is the real liberation, because you start choosing instead of doing what you are supposed to do or following what someone told you that it was the way to do things. So for me, in a personal level, that's been and it continues to be liberation, just the continuing questioning of like who I am and how I want to be, and also just at the same time it's an undergoing process, because maybe today, I think the way I live life is, a specific way based on like what I'm choosing to, but then tomorrow in my questioning I decide it's a different way. um but and just like small words, liberation is it's essentially becoming and choosing how to become.
I like liberation is becoming. I like that a lot. Um, I guess so many follow-ups. True self. People talk about true self all the time, you know. Is true self and authenticity the same thing?
I believe so. Authenticity. Also, I will add the word, the real essence of your being.
Essence.
Hmm.
So what is the real essence of your being?
Of my being, or
Yeah,
in general.
yours.
Well, that's a very, it's a question that I ask myself every day. Um, and the reality is, it has to do with whatever I'm going through at the moment. And even going back to like when I was a child, and just remembering, like kind of like remembering, like, okay, what did I used to like, or how I saw the world before, maybe experiences or things or challenges that I face. So it's always a question I ask, and me, my essence is I think it's rooted on that, and like, um just being curious about, okay, who am I in this moment, and then from there deciding and choosing how I am in the moment, because the truth is that I continue to discover that essence, and it has continued to evolve. And so it's kind of hard just to answer like, oh, I am this and this, because I feel like at the end my essence is just I'm living a human life in a human body, but I am a soul, and from that soul I came to experience so many things. And so it's like that discovery and the curious mind that continues to help me understand myself, and then I guess my essence.
What are the using your curiosity, what are the things that you still want to taste and discover that maybe feel close enough to this essence?
um okay, that's a very deep question. Well, I think I'll give you an example, like just to kind of be less abstract and just more real example. Last year, I embarked myself on this journey to hike this the tallest peak in Mexico. And
What's
in
it called?
that, it's called Pico de Orizaba.
Cool.
And Pico de Orizaba is like the tallest peak in Mexico, but the third tallest peak in North America. It's like high altitude, so it's like a real thing. And through that journey, I discovered so many parts of me that I have never thought, oh, I wouldn't have seen myself doing or being. And so, and it really started with curiosity, right? It's like the training and like really waking up every day and just facing myself and meeting myself to be ready to go and be in this mountain. And so what happened is that I faced so many fears, and I realized I had all these fears about who I thought I was. I'm not, I mean, I never thought of myself like actually going and hiking up a glacier. Like, never thought I would do something like that. And I think, but then I had to challenge so much my own thoughts about myself, because they were also prescribing to like, oh, what am I capable of doing and what I'm not capable of doing. Because going up in this mountain, I have never done it, so I had no real, like, like a real experience to say, oh, I'm capable, I can do these. So I had to like just trust into, like, I had everything in me to do my absolutely best and just surrender to the process in between all of that. And that I was basically facing my own fears, my own limitations, that I believe were real. And I had to like embrace this very unknown person, which it was this person that went up and did it, and when you summit, when I was at the top of the mountain, I realized also that there is a high chance, in between all that process, I had to be okay with, like, maybe, yeah, maybe I will not be this person that goes, and reaches, or gets to the summit, but I had to go try and do it and see and feel it for myself. So yeah, so that's kind of an example of like, um, what is to, your question. I actually forgot the question, but I think I answered.
No, that's it. That's it. Uh, do you think about the word liberation a lot in your life?
Yes, I do. I do think about the word a lot, and especially in my own individual experience, but also as in the collective, because I think, I mean, in my own personal experience, in my own way of how I see the world, that is the only way I can actually believe I can be free. Uh, and for also, maybe with through my actions, not that my job is to save nobody, or but I can inspire people to perhaps, think or question, their own liberation.
So in essence, to be liberated is to be liberated from, right? Like, liberation is liberation from, and then you fill in the blank. Yes, there are
Yeah,
communal things we need as a people. What is your blank, right? To be liberated from is what?
my own my own hmm, I'll say there's many things that came to me, but I think liberation is getting the blankest limitations, uh, in my own. Yeah, it's like basically the limitations that go through my mind, as far as like how, the attachment to things, for example, of how things should be, um, the part of like now being in the present moment and seeing things for what they are, and know how, my illusions, or maybe my mind thinks they should be. So from suffering, essentially, but suffering comes from like, the attachment comes from like craving comes from actually believing you think you know everything, or you think you know you know things, and it's just basically every day is very much a new unknown moment in your life. So I think the liberation is you know the blank is it's all of that I said, but also be at peace with you're absolutely doing your best with your present moment.
So when I think of liberation, I think of it on a it's on a scale of like large to fine. Uh, like boulders to sand to atoms, right? It gets like there are if I don't have a home and I'm in the cold, I need to be liberated from the cold, right? I just literally need shelter. I need so that's like that would be a boulder, I think. Food, shelter, yeah, clothing maybe, right? There are these things that are the bigger ones, and then if we have that, how amazing, what a blessing. And then we get to go to the mediums, and the mediums are maybe these sort of habits that we have. I keep calling that person, I should stop calling them, like I need to stop texting that person, or I need to stop looking at this person's Instagram, or I need to stop telling this story about myself. And then we get to the really fine ones, right? And I think the fine ones are more of like the metaphysics, like, oh, I'm not separate from anyone else, right? Like literally, that's fine work. I am not separate from this grain of sand. I'm not separate from that person's suffering. So, how does I would say you're in the middle, right? Based on your answer. You've got
Mm-hmm.
you have shelter. You have all these things, right? How beautiful. How does our getting out of the middle help the people who need? It's not a trick question or a challenge. It's a genuine curiosity. How does our getting out of the middle help the people who have the giant boulders that they need to be liberated from?
I think, well, yeah, I think it is, I think is the key to understand our humanity as a whole. And how you mentioned how we are interconnected, even though we think we're different or we're separate. And and I think in my own journey, like even the things that hurt me before, now I have so much gratitude to towards them, but I had to take myself out of the me part to realize there is a bigger story here than my story or me. And but I do believe when you take responsibility, like 100 of your existence, like of your being, right? You also get to contribute so much to the collective being, because you're kind of moved from being like, oh, I'm doing, or see me, or all of that, to just actually being a human, right? And contributing from that space, and no waiting or expecting others to see you, give you. Um, so it's a little bit of more of like moving to just be on a place of serving, and understanding that we are all going through, in a way, an individual experience, but we contribute to the collective through our own doings. So I think, so the more that takes more meaning in my life, I feel like I can see or experience the world in a different place, and not from like an individual place. So for example, another example I can give you of this, when I was right in the top of that mountain, my reaction, like when we were about to go down, it was so steep, and so like it was like it took me, like I had this big emotion of like, I want someone to take care of me. I want someone to take me down, essentially, just like grab me and and then when I leaned there, to do that, I had this moment where this person was like, absolutely, like, we cannot do this because the best way to do this is that by you taking care of your steps, by your being present and conscious about how you're going down and how we're doing this, even though we're connected to these rocks, we were all connected to this rock. You are actually doing that job that needs to be done so that we can all come down, safe. And so for me, that was like so strong because it shifted from actually like, okay, please help me take care of like me and just do these, but then went to like, okay, I'm gonna be responsible for me, my being, my body, all of these movements, because that's how actually I can contribute the best to these people that are with me. And I think it's a very much something that I can relate to everything in society.
This mountain was big for you, literally, like metaphorically and actual in size, large.
It was huge. Yeah.
Are you? Is there another mountain on the horizon, both metaphorical and literal?
Um yeah, I mean, I think I I mean right now in my current uh moment, I am questioning um like what's how I can serve the world, specifically. How can I use my own experience to contribute? And because I think I moved from like the story, my story, to I'm moving and just embracing this part of like, how can I be part of this moment, uh, and just how can I contribute? Like it's just that is like really where I am, and that's a big. I mean, obviously, it's a big mountain. Because I think I feel ready, and I feel ready to contribute to humanity, the earth, in a different place, in a place where I can be responsible of myself, but at the same time being the world, being with with humanity, and just figure out life, or just through those doings. So that's like big. It's a big mountain.
How can you serve the world?
Well, I think, I mentioned first one, you serve the world by taking care of yourself, like meaning like your whole being, like being responsible, being responsible of how and who you are. I think that's like the first step to like serve the world. Because you really move from like, let's say from, being victim to actually being the proactive side of things. And that too, I think, really continue to hone in and remember that we do are part of a collective. um, and by that is like my contributions, even like what, the things that I purchase and where I purchase them, how I actually, treat others, um the foods that I eat and where I buy them, and all of that. Like it's just, that's how you can contribute to the world. And obviously, if you can add to that, let's say you have a cause that is very dear to your heart, identify that cause, and contribute to that cause. I mean, obviously, we are not going to solve all the problems. I said to him that I'm not going to solve all the problems. Probably, I'm gonna die. Who knows what's gonna happen, right? In between all of that. But if I identify one thing or two, commit to that. And I think it's that commitment, the commitment to, okay, I feel that I can commit to this cause and I can actually be part of it, and I'm gonna educate myself and continue to just grow, um, and evolve in the cause.
And for folks who feel like a paralysis, there's so many causes. Where to begin? Just to emphasize, I believe this is what I heard, but that picking one cause with your whole heart is is benefiting many causes. Yes. I mean, just doing one thing, it means something. Yes.
Yes.
I asked this because, and later on, as I'm releasing these, I'm going to chat with this person who the story I'm going to tell you about. Her name is Awatif. She's an incredible brown woman and artist and graphic designer, and she reached out to me on social media a while back with during this sort of genocide in Gaza, and she said, "Yo, how come you haven't said anything?" And I got so defensive. I got so defensive. Like, I felt attacked. And I was like, I
Hmm.
know who I am and da 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 and the work I do, and I do the work, and I was like, I think sharing of something on social media is dumb. I like went off. I went off. And then she responded. She said, I think I triggered something. And she said, I'm not challenging you. I just like, that's why I asked you. Like, and then we had this really healthy dialogue. We had like a really beautiful, like, I'm still processing the dialogue. Um, like a dialogue that changed me, which is really rare. It means you have to listen. It means you're actually listening, and letting someone influence you. And a dialogue that made me realize any form of activism is activism, and we can't all, she said, like, we can't all write a book. We can't all, but some of us can share on social media. Like, do not put that below some sort of belt. There is no below. There's no hierarchy of sharing compassion, of sharing human rights. Uh, and so I guess my question to you is, what are your thoughts on sharing on social media and the liberation that might or might not bring?
Mm.
Sharing
Yeah.
about certain causes.
Yeah. I think it's important. I mean, you know, like, as bringing back the conversation to liberation as how we're like, I think for me it's liberating. Like, it feels liberating that I can allow myself to share myself in a way where I'm not trying to impress nobody, right? Or I'm not trying to, like, make a statement because I need to, or because others are asking, and or because it is what is supposed to be, you know, um, like the thing that I need to do. Liberating for me is like if I identify, right, like myself, my values, my own life, I guess, legacy, principles, all of that, it's in alignment to, what I'm going to share. It's actually, I think it's an act of love, liberation, and really honing in into whatever I believe in my humanity. So I think it's like, let's say, if someone comes, right, and is telling me this, is like, okay, I was ask me like, but what should I share? And I will say, well, I think, the way, or the way I do this is that, one, I get very curious about the causes and the things. So education is very important because we cannot stop. I mean, this is a continuing learning and unlearning process specifically. So the education needs to be there, right? Two, it should not be performative, right? It's like you're doing it because at your core you believe in this, like it's just, this is, part of what you will talk about with a group of friends, right? And also you'll talk about it. Um, and three, if you at the moment don't feel ready, well, don't do it, because then it's big performative. Then you're doing it because of something else. Then you're serving the ego. I mean, I brought the word ego. I didn't want to be like make it so abstract again, but it's at the end, it's like you need to be true to yourself, right? And true to yourself is like nobody knows, only you. Like when you go to sleep, you know, you only know. So and it's hard. Like I know what you mean with all of these, like, and especially with the current, situation in so many places in the world. Like I actually shared something the other day. I shared two things. One thing, it was something that someone posted, like a very famous author, and she, like, her statement was very much about humanizing, and I was like, yeah, I'm in alignment with this. But then I didn't do enough research to actually detangle like everything that she had said, and it was pretty much, I mean, we all have biases. We still have like some sort of like things that we don't see, right? And so someone reached out and said, like, oh, did you really read the whole post? And I said, well, I read it. I just kind of scanned it. But I mean, I believe because I read her books and, like all of, like, I mean, I know what she's about. And then and then she sent me this video about someone that is so in depth into this conversation about, specifically, what's happening in Gaza. And it was like, oh my gosh, wow. I mean, I did not see any of these, no, and like, and honestly, like, I mean, she didn't do it like, oh, how come you? No, it was just essentially everybody was like so in this very like surprise, kind of like, oh my gosh, like, yes, we know this author, we know this person. She's, she has good intentions, but she still comes from a white, very white world, and she still has all these things that she has to, tap into, that she obviously demonstrated with this post, right? So anyways, and so that actually was an invitation for me to continue to learn, to continue to, like, okay, let me figure this out, and even question more before I post. So I also bring that to the conversation, anytime I more, even more now, uh to like whatever I post, it really has gone through like the different lens, no, so yeah.
Yeah, social media and sharing is a complicated one. We're gonna come to our time here shortly. Two questions. One is, what is your wish for liberation, either for yourself or for others?
My wish for liberation is, I I want everybody to believe that they can be liberated, and that they can question everything themselves about all the systems that you know, we wake up every day, and just basically find answers to whatever, they are questioning. That is my wish. And the second, adding to that wish is to, like, and in between all of that, they can find themselves, find the real, again, real essence of who they are. um because I think that will help really contribute to solve and feel and see the world so much different, from, like, making a decision from that place. It's very it's very broad, but I think if, let's say, 30% of the population gets to, like, decide who they want to be based on values, and, like, discovering the true essence rooted in love, and, and, like, and freedom, and joy, all of these, I mean, we will be operating so different. So that's
It's funny you say 30%. There is a dharmic concept, and this has been handed down for centuries, and it says we just need 1,000 people, just 1,000 people, to really be love, to love someone else
mm,
unconditionally. Just 1,000. And unconditionally means I don't only love you because I'm getting love in return, right? Like I love
Mm-hmm.
you. Like I love everyone without exception,
Mm-hmm.
without exception. Uh, the murdered and the murderer, right? Like of love, like a thousand people just changing and becoming love, and it would ripple. It would
Mm-hmm.
ripple through the whole world. So they say, you know. Um,
Yeah, it's powerful.
the vibrational power of love, way less than 30%, just like 1,000 people. Um,
I believe in that.
yeah, you do?
Yeah,
It's good.
100%. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Um, Paula, who are you? Tell people who you are. And if they want to know more about you and your amazing work.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm Paula Duran Arzayus. I was born and raised in Bogota, Colombia. Moved to the States almost 20 years ago. I can't believe this. And and yeah, I live in LA. I focus a lot of the work I do. It's on social impact, meaning I work on projects, causes, movements, intentions that are rooted in creating a better world um, through communities, through the environment. So a lot of my work, it's just I call it as a lot of it has a lot of intentionality, and they can find me. My business is called Empress. So it's weempress.com. And yeah, and then other than that, I am mountaineer, learning how to be one because that's another world. I I meditate a lot. Something that helps me keep keep real and grounded. And I am just in my process of liberation too every day.
Any questions for me?
What's liberation for you?
Oh, it's everything. That's why this whole thing I'm involved in or engaged in is called engaged deliberation. It's using the bathroom, it's brushing your teeth, it's making coffee, it's being kind, it's being rude, it's ordering coffee, it's everything. Like liberation is from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed, and even in our dreams. Like we have so much we get to be liberated from. Get to, right? We don't have to get to, not got to. We get to be liberated, and we get to feel the expansiveness of that liberation. And I can almost bet. No, I can bet that expansiveness feels like peace, and that the more that people feel that peace, the more things they want to be liberated from. Uh, and and that it can be really small and they can feel that peace, and it can be really big and they can feel that peace, and that liberation, that expansiveness serves other people. It shows them how to create more spaciousness in their lives for peace. uh, I believe that spaciousness is filled with peace, or the lack of stuff is peace. And so liberation is peace. And it takes a a daily commitment, if it's something that we want. It's something that I want. It's something that I enjoy sharing with others, uh, in any way I can. Yeah, it's kind of taken over my life, this word. I was looking at old journals the other day. I was going down memory lane. Uh, I got a lot of journals, lots of journals. And I have been dancing on the doorstep of liberation for years. I just didn't have the word.
Mm,
I've been looking, I've been observing, I've been standing outside the door, I've been thinking about it, I've been tasting it. I just didn't have the word. And I
mm,
had a million other words. Uh, and now this word has brought me peace, has brought me expansiveness. And so it has kind of taken over my breath, my moments. Yeah, that's
wow.
liberation.
Incredible. Yeah. I love everything you said. I feel like peace. I miss the word peace, but it is true. Liberation is feels peace. Feels
Yeah.
like peace in your heart.
Yeah, because if liberation is if we're bound, right? If that's the idea, like to be liberated from, uh, we're like knots, and we're just trying to untie the knot. There's so
Hmm.
many things knotting us up, and we're just trying to become no knot, and then when you get rid of the knot, you're just long ass string, and then even better, that's when you get rid of the string. It's just space. It's just peace. Um,
True.
and so just undoing the knot. Maybe that's my definition.
I'm
Undoing the
doing
knot.
love it. It's like wow. Okay. Yeah. Wow. I'm learning. Mhm.
Anything
I'm
else?
doing. Um. Yeah. I wanted to ask you. How did you get to like even I mean you said that you were like playing around with the idea, right? Or like outside is like, oh, the word liberation. But how does one person get to like even consider they should be in this journey of liberation?
One, you have to know you're capable of being liberated. You have to know that you have to imagine it. Anything you want in this life. People talk about manifesting all the time. Uh, you have to be able to imagine it. You have to be able to imagine. And often what we imagine are things. We're trying to manifest things like, I want a new car, or I want this job, or I want to be famous, or I want this. And the reason we want things is because we think it'll give us feelings. Because what we want are feelings, not things.
Mm,
And liberation is not a thing, it's a space, it's a feeling, it's expansiveness. And so it's kind of hard to imagine a non thing. And so I'm saying, let's go after a non thing. We're all capable of reaching this non thing, this because I believe feelings before things, and that if we start tapping in and imagining that we are capable of these feelings, profound joy, profound peace, happiness, happiness that's not dependent on something else, things will start to come into our life that allow us to maintain these feelings. Feelings before things, not things and then feelings. And so I don't know why I got blessed in this lifetime to be capable of imagining the feeling of liberation, but I have been given that opportunity, and and it's awesome. And I just like sharing it. uh and it's to me, it's not about happiness. I use that word peace really chosenly, um because I think happiness is still, as a word, it's still muddy and so dependent on highs and lows. Yeah, but
mhm,
peace is like, I can have peace in my suffering. I can have peace in my boredom.
mm,
Peace is like, I don't have to escape this moment. I can peacefully experience this headache. I can peacefully experience this heartbreak. You know, um, I can even peacefully experience this falling in love. Like, how many people have fallen in love and it's anxiety building? And you got like
mhm,
knots in your stomach, right? Again, with a knot. And it's just like, no, we can peacefully experience this,
mhm.
whatever it is. And so that's why I use that word pretty chosenly.
Well, I love that. I love that word. And then also I love the all the different examples you gave because I think essentially I think that is the journey. Just be at peace with and what is.
Yeah. Well, I'm grateful for you. Uh,
I'm grateful for you too.
we'll, we'll hang out soon. I'm back now until a couple weeks. I'm not going to say a date on here.
Oh,
But I'm back for a couple weeks, and I'll talk to you soon.
sounds good.
Ciao.
Ciao.